So in this video we're just going to talk about commercial pole floats. So I've done a Facebook post talking about eyes and stuff, and it was definitely a proper consensus about using, a proper circular eye, because these don't tend to damage the line so much, or nowhere near as much as say a spring eye like this. Lovely shaped float, well made to be fair. Got these from Belingi, but I'm not a great fan of the eye, to be honest. Alright, that's the only criticism. Otherwise it's a nice float, to be fair. Otherwise I wouldn't have brought it. So natural floats, not being funny, if you want looking for natural floats, this isn't the video to watch, but natural floats, basically you would look at Colmic or Senses. I believe they're the two best manufacturers for natural floats. We're talking about like rivers and canals. The reason why I say that is because I used them for years, and it's the same person that used to make Colmic floats and Senses floats. So I know that because I sat next to him at the Colmic factory. So going with commercial floats, so we've got a Maver Series 6. Now a lot of people, a little bit like, do yourself a favour, don't buy Maver. But this is exactly the same float as what a Preston edge float is. So you can't turn around and say, oh, the Preston float's better. Trust me, I know. So this is made by Rizzo. So, hey, if I'm wrong, you let me know in the comments. But whatchamacallit, this is a pretty well made float. I'm not a great lover of the power eye, to be honest. I sooner still have a circle eye. A power eye I can make do. Like Matrix have got these like slim bodies with the power eyes. They ain't too bad, but again, still not a great lever. If you're sacking and putting a lot of strain on your gear, then I do feel that you might just come back with 4 or 6 or 8 inches of line. So basically, from your pole tip to your float, that length of line, it might just pinch and break. So I've had that a few times. I actually had it yesterday as well on a power eye, so which is not ideal. So Gaz Malman makes a nice float. So I've used a lot of these through like sort of silver fishing on commercials, and then obviously like winter carping again on commercials. So he does a proper eye. The only thing I'd be careful of Gaz Malman floats is don't get them like, well, don't leave them in wet containers. So say you got your pole cassette case with all your floats in it, don't leave it wet. Now it might sound obvious because obviously otherwise all your shot were oxidized, which ain't good. Your line would deteriorate, but these bodies actually do shrink, so just be careful with that. So I did learn the hard way. So that's the only thing, so make sure you keep them dry. Otherwise, fantastic float, very consistent with weight, very well made. John Walker, now obviously he's one of my mates, but like I said, I'm not biased. I don't get paid to make this video. But what I do like about this floats is he does use, again, an eye, and he does actually use like some wrap to go around it. So he puts it into the body, obviously all glued up, and then he puts some wrap into the eye, so it actually ties it back. So they're very rarely do they break. I have had one break, which is here, but I hate to think how old this float is, and I think actually the eye just like rusted out almost. It just like pulled out, but the float is a joke, it's still intact, so I could just put a rubber over the top and still use it. So happy days. So don't get sucked into like gimmicky stuff. So like paste floats and stuff, you know, you want something that's strong, dot it right down, and half the time, especially in the margins, they just rip it out and hook themselves. So I wouldn't look to get thin bristles or anything gimmicky, because I feel like it potentially just break. Anything thin is obviously going to be not as robust. You know, if you're fishing something like paste, that's a big bait, you know, it's there. It's not like finesse, you're not like trying to present a squat or a joker or a bloodworm or a soft pellet in the winter. So I hope this video sort of helps. So basically what I'm saying is, in a nutshell, when you look for pole floats, a lot of the manufacturers now are using the same like wholesaler. Try and look for that sort of circular eye. You probably find, though, unfortunately, most of these like commercial floats, they all use like power eyes, or they use like the spring eyes, which are not ideal in my opinion. So when you're looking to buy a pole float, I would use a circular eye. You can get pole floats that are like inline bodies, so there's no eye at all. I'm not sure if I really like these. I don't know if they actually sit in the water really well, to be honest. Sort of bagging again, big baits and stuff like that, not so much of a problem. But I don't know if I'm a great lover of them, to be fair. Obviously you can get them with like this, like a circular eye, and then inline as well. I think Dow would do that as well. So you've got Colmic one here, probably made from the same manufacturer again. Let me know what pole floats you use.